I'm Dr. Julie Johnson. I'm the Assistant Dean and Director of Continuing and Professional Studies here at the School of Communication and Information at Rutgers University. We have a host of certificate programs. One of them is our DAM for GLAM certificate. And David Lipsey, who is here with us, is the Academic Director for our DAM and Creative Operations program. We also have Scott Delfino, who is the Assistant Director of CPS, my right hand, left hand, all hands person who keeps everything flying, super appreciative. We're going to spend some time today talking about our GLAM program. David's going to spend a few minutes giving you an overview of the program, and then we have Jen Curtis with us, who is a graduate of the GLAM certificate program, who's going to give us her insights and a little bit of her journey. I'm going to share then a little bit about process for applications and getting you enrolled, and some of the benefits of the program, along with costs and all the things. And then it's your turn to ask lots of questions. And we really want to hear all of your questions, because if we can't answer it in this moment, I assure you we will circle back to you quickly. I will also say, because you are here with us tonight, you will be getting an email from us by the end of the week with a special additional gift for being part of our very first info session. This is new for us, so we appreciate your time, especially stepping away from work, from family, or getting up a little early and having a first morning meeting. I'm going to turn it over to David.
Great, thanks, Julie. And you'll be pleased to know that Tourism Scotland has attended, I think, everything we offer, if
Yes.
I'm not correct, and it's been delightful to welcome them. So my name is David Lipsey. I'm the co-founder of this wonderful program, one of the founders of the Field of DAM, and I'm talking with you today from McLean, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. I serve as the academic director for our DAM and creative operations programs, and work arm in arm and hand by hand and head to head with Julie and Scott to help make affirmative experiences for Jen and for the many other professionals around the world who have joined us on various parts of their educational and life and upskilling journeys. We're here today to talk about DAM for GLAM. That's what we call the program, but you sometimes will hear me say the word GLAM because I like to add performing arts right into this. And almost everyone who's involved in the milieu of cultural heritage has some performing arts connections, either a venue at their museum, sponsorship of something, and so on and so forth. So even though the P isn't in the class listing, we're always thinking about that. And in thinking about that, this painting, well, maybe not the finest work of art, but it has been on display at the Walters here in Baltimore, not too far from where I am, and is still with us almost 400 years later, is called The Five Senses. And when I think about what we do as cultural heritage and museum professionals, we want to gather from the moment of experience that at the moments of experience, we can help to ignite a digital shadow, that we can bring journeys and stories that are beginning into being, and how core digital asset management is to that. The touch point of everything starts when someone comes to one of our museums or galleries or libraries, or goes to a performing arts session. And from gallery to library to archive to museum and to the performing arts, we can be spellbound by the space shuttle. There's one very near where I live, out at the Udvar Hazy Museum in Washington Dulles Airport. We can be swayed by the symphony of movement. We're very fortunate that the DAM manager from the Los Angeles Philharmonic is on our faculty and a leading beacon of knowledge about what sound can translate into journey for the orchestral world worldwide. We can be silenced by a song, be saddened by a sculpture, and how many of us have been swept away by a story. And as we have those moments of experience, what we want to do in teaching digital asset management for GLAM is make ready the digital mainsails. We want to empower our cultural heritage institutions and organizations, be they small historic house museums, stepping through all the various size ranges of entities that provide us with these sensate experiences through the 3 courses that are listed here. This is a 12-week program. It has 3 one-month integrated classes, starting with an overview called GLAM Principles and Practices for GLAM. Then we go deeply into the world of rights for GLAM. And as we think about digital asset management, with the legs of the proverbial 3-legged stool being rights, that rights are equal to, and in some ways supersede in a way, the metadata and binary coding that represents a digital asset. And we have a seminal leader who joins us, plus guest speakers, to talk about rights and the ancillary issues in permissions and in codification, so that when we use assets in cultural heritage, whether they're oral histories that are very sensitive, or whether they're just the opportunity, say, to reproduce this painting that's here that we see from the Mariners Museum Library, that we know what we can do and not do. Our 3rd class is on asset lifecycle preservation. Generally more than any of our corporate colleagues who work in digital asset or media asset management, the cultural heritage community is the most highly sensitive, and is probably in each of your backgrounds, to the fact that we have no time horizon for when we need to be carrying forward our stewardship of these particular assets, because they have no timeline, they have no expiry date. The rights might, but the assets don't. And so we have one of the most senior executives in the field, who has the senior role at the New York Public Library, join us to teach asset lifecycle preservation. And as we do this, we want to see DAM, and there is that space shuttle not too far from where I live, we want to see DAM ignite the journey to sustain and expand memory and story. What its meaning is for a school group that comes through a museum, what its meaning is for an individual who experiences a symphony who just lifts them out of their seat. That's the hope that will help teach the building blocks of accelerating the use and purpose of digital assets, and also to confront with confidence an unknown and changing digital horizon. One of our alums who has done this, and a friend of mine for many years, Jen Curtis, is here to share a little bit about her story in digital asset management. Jen, thanks for dialing in. Introduce yourself and tell everyone where you're calling in from, please.
Yes, of course. Thank you, David. Hello, everybody. I'm, as David said, Jen Curtis, and I am calling in from Los Angeles, California, in an Airstream. I work at an art studio, and I just want to give you a brief synopsis of my journey. I earned a BFA in photography from Rochester Institute of Technology, and later returned to get a master's in graphics art publishing, which focused on design and typography. And so during graduate school, I worked at a rare book library. And that's actually where I was first introduced to archiving and metadata, long before I even knew that it was going to be a foundational thing in my career. So moving from there, after I completed my degrees, I joined the George Eastman Museum as an exhibition designer. And so over the course of 9 years, I developed exhibition graphics ranging from logo designs to interpretive text panels to large-scale street banners, but basically working with a bunch of different images, text, graphics, you name it. So in 2009, I designed an exhibition for Lauren Bond and the Metabolic Studio. Fast forward to February 2011, I left snowy Rochester for Los Angeles for what was meant to be a 3-month contract, and 15 years later, I'm still here at Metabolic Studio. I was hired to produce 6 books in that 3-month time period, documenting the studio's signature art projects. And once I got here, I quickly discovered how disorganized the digital archive was. There was no naming conventions, files were scattered across servers. So I shifted my focus, and I spent 6 months actually restructuring the archive, standardizing folders and consolidating assets and creating order from the chaos so that I could actually produce the books, because if you don't know what you have, then you don't know where you can go. So from that, it led into a full-time position. So then roughly kind of around 2012, we implemented a different system into our archive. And while initially it did meet our needs, we eventually outgrew the system. And as our organization grew and our digital assets expanded. So then when the pandemic happened in 2020, my boss encouraged and supported me to enroll in the in the Rutgers Digital Asset Management Bronze Certificate Program. And truly, this experience was transformative. It gave me opportunity to strengthen my practical knowledge that I gained over the years with experience, but also provided a strategic framework for metadata standards and governance and asset lifecycle management. So it gave me structure and strategy to what we were trying to execute. So right now, we're currently evaluating a whole new dance system as our needs have evolved and our priorities of discovering things have become more important as our collection just keeps growing and growing and growing. So beyond, I'd say, like the technical knowledge that I gained from this program, I'd also say that it's a valuable network of practitioners getting together and learning and sharing information and growing together. And so that's it for now.
And Jen, it might be fun for people to hear how many different types of audio and video technologies are under the care and feeding of the studio.
I'd almost say it's easier to say what we don't have. We have everything. From CCTVs to iPhones to Zoom recordings to, I mean, it's pretty expansive. We document everything at the studio. So there's about 15 of us, so we're all creating content. And we all need that content to create books and calendars and newsletters and exhibition material. So it's been really important to be able to get that asset, the correct asset, the high-res asset, and be able to get it to the people that need that asset.
And one of the things I learned from Jen was that there's almost an indefinite number of points of entry of the artist's interests. She's currently a Guggenheim Fellow. She has an immense and a very widely recognized civic presence because of her environmental stewardship and concerns that she has. And that, as Jen was describing to us in class, what all she does, I could not imagine. It's like bumblebee eyes trying to figure out all the different ways of what Lauren might be asking for. And I share that just to illustrate that in cultural heritage, we have so many different touch points, and Jen gets to be in the middle of those.
I do. I get to create the assets and archive them.
So thank you, Jen, for that. And Jen's going to stay with us. We're going to have some of the ways in which the program works, and then we'd welcome, of course, a chance for some Q&A. And Julie, if I could ask you to share this, and I'll be happy to run your slides for you.
So class is going to start April 6th, and as David shared, it's a 12-week program, so we are in the middle of application season. There's a few ways. The mom in me is always looking for the coupons and ways to save money, so there's some ways to save money right now with early enrollment. We have a 15% discount happening until March 20th. But watch your email because there's something special for all of you, as I shared before. Those of you who would prefer to pay monthly, the monthly cost is that $10.95 per month for 3 monthly payments. We also have some people whose employers will help support this. If you are having your employer pay, then my program coordinator will ask you for their contact information and a few pieces for billing, and then we can send them an invoice through DocuSign, and then they can either send a check or through a wire transfer. If you are looking for one other option of paying on your own, we have Sally Mae loans available. And again, if that is of interest, when you connect with our program coordinator, she can give you more details about that. Next slide, please. So this is our website, and if you see the red ribbon in the lower portion of the screen, it says professional certificates. If you click there, it will give you all the certificate programs that we offer, including the Stanford GLAM program. And all the way at the right side of that red ribbon, it says Get Started. We're going to zoom in on that. So next slide. You'll see if you click on Get Started, there's three pieces to the drop-down menu. You want to start with Apply Now, and that is the application process. The application is so straightforward. And I have a great team who will respond to your application usually between 24 and 48 hours, depending on if it's the weekend or not. And if you're accepted to the program, then you'll also get an email to us regarding how to actually enroll. So the first step is the application process. It's really important to me that you're a good fit for this program, because I really want you to learn today, think about it tomorrow, and start doing better in your position with confidence and knowledge just a couple days later. So we want to be sure that this is the right program for you, especially because we have so many programs. We have many people, as David shared, who end up taking multiple certificates through Rutgers. So once you complete that application process, we'll then help you with next steps. Again, early registration is taking place right now, so we certainly want to encourage you to save some money. Next slide, please. So there's three ways in which you can stay connected to us. That is our email address, if you and our website, and of course a phone call anytime. We'd love to hear your voice and answer any questions you have. If our program coordinator does not have the answer to your question, and if we didn't answer it tonight, David is very gracious to jump on calls with prospective students to dive deep and get all wonky in the world of GLAM, because he loves it so much, and he's happy to do that, and we're grateful for that. So with that, I'm going to ask David to stop sharing screen, and then we'd love to see your faces, and let's just ask questions and have a great conversation.
Or I start asking you questions. So
Hi,
Kelly, you have a
Kelly.
question? Hey, Kelly.
So I have a couple of questions. The first one is about platforms. Is this course platform agnostic? Do we dig into any specific platforms? And then, you know, the looming question over all of this is AI. Is there any sort of touch on AI as well?
Sure.
So you want me to answer that, Julie, on the platform side? Do you, Kelly, do you mean DAM platform agnostic, or the methodology we use within Rutgers, which is Canvas?
DAM platforms, like commercial,
Okay.
you know, Binder, Orange Logic, all of that.
We barely utter the names.
Okay.
We are resolutely agnostic. Every month we have guest speakers come in. We have a private, gated, very secure, fun opportunity. It's the only live time we get together. It's called cleverly Behind the Dam Scenes. And many of the faculty host these. I'm generally the MC of them. And we're very specific with the speakers. We don't want to know what dam they use. We want to know what they do with it. They want to know how they do it, but we don't want to know what that. So we're very cautious about that. On the AI question, all of the faculty who are practitioners. So each of the faculty members who will be teaching have woven in there's an AI component in the pedagogical aspect of each class.
Okay.
And this is not a class about AI and cultural heritage. It's a class about DAM for GLAM. And we'll have insights into AI. There's a whole separate certificate about DAM and AI that switches the polarity a little bit. And one of the things that we want to teach, and one of the reasons we like advanced professionals to join us, is we need to help you have the confidence, and in your case, the consultative confidence with your clients, to help them get an understanding that AI is not a just add water application,
Right.
that it needs laboratory time and testing, just like the dyes in all the fabric that we're wearing and the food we eat. And it's one
Right.
of those things that if we ask Jen in her background, well, Jen, now you studied materials testing and you knew how to handle photochemicals. Did anybody teach you how to handle digital chemicals? And the answer is probably not. So we're very focused on leadership in that regard.
Thanks a lot.
So the other piece that I wanted to add is the way in which the curriculum is developed in reference to, do we talk about particular platforms, is because this isn't training, it's truly professional studies. So while we're building skill sets in you, even more so, we're building competencies and decision-making processes. And there's a leadership component to all of these advanced certificates for you to, how do you leverage everything that you're learning across teams and to leadership circles and so on and so forth. We have felt that we have great relationships with so many of the vendors. They do a good job of click here, click here, click here. That's actually, they're best at that. And we're best at the strategic thinking and higher order thinking. Does that help?
It's very helpful. Thanks, Julie.
Yep. Donna, question?
Yeah, I was just wondering how many hours per week can we expect to be putting into this with study and assignments and things like that?
So we usually find that students are spending between 6 and 8 hours per week. We also have at the beginning, because it's 3 modules, 4 weeks each, at the beginning of the month, the instructors have what we call a meetup, which is optional, where it's a live Teams call similar to this, in which not only do you get the overview of class, but it's an opportunity to talk about hot topics that are happening in the industry, but also a bit of Ask Me Anything. So some of the students, it's an opportunity to get other people to think about the larger issues that they're facing. But if you have limited information or background knowledge, it might be that you are going to those meetups to say, you talked about this in class, can you talk to me more about it? And then because they're practitioners, they'll dive deep with you. And we're also building all the time more and more resources in each module of either teach me more because it's new learning for people, or opportunities to stretch people.
Thanks. And while we're talking about that, what time frames are they on at? Because I'm doing the Creative Commons certificate at the moment, and all the live webinars are in like 3 a.m. my time, so I don't actually catch them live.
Our instructors are really cognizant of this being an international program, so they kind of poll the students to say what works for you. And every class it's different, because we just never know where our students are coming from. So we try and give options up front. The first instructor usually finds the time, and then the other instructors are like, okay, that worked for everyone, we'll keep going with that. Sometimes if it's not working, then communicating with your instructor all the time is great. Again, those pieces of the program are optional, so you don't have to go. It's just an added benefit because you have such leaders in the field. I also wanted to talk a little bit about it's asynchronous with a caveat in that it's asynchronous. So the lectures are pre-recorded. So if you're taking the train, you can listen to a lecture on the way to work, learn on the go, learn when it's convenient for you, fit in readings and assignments around your schedule and your family schedule and work schedules. But your instructor is live with you for that month. So they're going to be in the discussion boards with you. They're going to encourage you, stretch you, challenge you, provide you with more resources, all those things. But also your assignments, they're going to read carefully and give you very specific feedback to your context and what you're sharing. So I almost say it's the best of both worlds by having somebody live caring about you, but also learn on the go. We have 3 minutes. Any other questions? Because I do want to honor everyone's time.
I just wanted to take a second and just reinforce what David was saying about the behind the dam scenes. As I mentioned, I took the program in 2020, and I just did behind the dam scenes last month. And it was so wonderful because it gets you engaged and you meet people that way and network and realize that you're all going through the same issues and bouncing ideas off each other. So that's one of the key things that I really enjoyed about the program.
Thank you, Jen. And the other piece is on LinkedIn, we have a private LinkedIn group for DAM. I'm going to sneeze, so I'm going to let David talk about.
David, you're muted.
We do have a very active LinkedIn group. It's a private LinkedIn group, and we screen very carefully. But it's available for all the current students and the cohorts and alums. We use it to post interesting articles, job positions, to make sure that everyone knows where different events that we have. We host a really fun dinner twice a year. So right now it's twice a year, once in Los Angeles in a couple of weeks and once in New York, both around the Henry Stewart Conference. And we welcome all of it's when one graduates, one gets a really beautiful little pin. And last year we had almost 60 people in New York City in October. We're going to beat that number this year. Right, Julie? Right, Scott?
Yes, we are. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say we are in LA.
Yeah.
Okay, well, call everybody
Okay.
who you were in class with.
Yes.
So, and the behind the dam scenes, as Jen said, these are really fun, and as Scott and I are asking leaders from around the world to present in these private sessions, we have a fun balance between the cultural heritage world, the world that I've coined the phrase mission and mandate world, where we're looking at impact in people's experience. That's what this particular certificate is about. And in December, we had the DAM manager and the digital oversight person from Fred Rogers Productions, Mr. Rogers. It was so fun. And I should have had him bring plush toys to give away because everybody wanted one. And then in January, February, Scott, we had the global digital leader for Saatchi & Saatchi, one of the largest ad agencies in the whole world. In April, we have the global digital head for Corning Worldwide. And then we're going to do 2 in April because of the conference and whatnot. And subject to confirmation, we'll have the woman who runs the Jackie Robinson Foundation. So we try to hit a mix between where profit and loss is the impetus to life or mission and mandate, because we want these digital tools to know no bias towards either opportunity in the way our society is organized.
One last thing before we go. We've been very intentional about creating the cohort model for our programs. So being with a group of people, when often students have said to me, I'm the only one in my organization, or maybe there's 2 of us, but now you get a network of people who not only you have been learning with, you get to know. I really enjoy opportunities of Henry Stewart because I see students who they said, we met in class and we made sure our hotel rooms were right next door to each other because we're having a party all night long. And that relationship building, but also, as they say, you know, I feel like I have my own group of people who I can turn around to and say, what do you think about what I'm dealing with? And most likely they're dealing with it too, or surprise, surprise, in a couple months, it's on their plate in front of them as well. So we really thank you for joining us this evening. I hope that you will apply and join us in April. And if you have questions, please reach out to us, and you are very appreciated. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, Jen. Special thanks.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, everyone.